So this is my critique of me desensitizing Winslow to the plastic bag. So as soon as that bag came out there, you see his head move away and his ears kind of turn. He's already worried about it. He was worried about it as soon as I moved it down. And then I immediately start putting it on the highest pressure possible. And so of course he's going to react like that. It's scary. He was already worried. I didn't even notice that in the beginning. Like when I was filming this video, I clearly never noticed that. And so, of course, it's going to be a bigger reaction once I get it started moving. We don't need to start with the moving, with the bag moving. Because again, all I'm doing is, okay, he stopped for a second. He's learning that doing nothing is what is going to get the bag away. But he's not like being relaxed about it. He's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And then he freezes and I'm rewarding that freeze response. It's not a relaxation at all. Like, even though he licked afterward, he's like, oh my gosh, it's gone. Whew. And then now it's back again. You can see how tight his neck is. He has that hind leg cocked. That does not mean he is relaxed. That he is like ready to go or ready to kick out or something, like with that hind leg. That um sometimes it can be a sign of relaxed horse, but you have to take in the entire context. His head and neck is up, his head's turning away, his ears are kind of tilted back a little bit. If he had his head lowered and his eye was like soft and his ears were kind of just moving gently and they weren't set back like this, then it would be different. But you got to take that hind leg cock into the consideration of the entire context of what's happening. So that's one thing that I see quite a bit is like, oh well, he's relaxed. No, he's not. Especially with the ears like this, when you see those ears like that, they're worried about something. Like you saw in the very beginning before I started moving that bag, that's what he looked like first. So at this point, I was trying to wait for him to relax a little bit. I think he must have blinked his eyes or something. Um, I mean, I would take that as a sign, a good sign, because they're not in complete freeze mode, where they're not blinking. But there's really no need for me to be on this high of intensity. I could have him look at the bag from afar, follow the bag, um, just have it move gently, and then increase the intensity. And I do that later on, as you see with the other horses that I work with. But this is probably my worst application of negative reinforcement in these very first videos. But it's a good application to learn from because it's not good. But again, very high intensity. I'm just increasing it. Like, there's no reason for me to be this close to him. Look at his face, his ears, his neck. He's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Um, I mean, he learned real fast that the not running away is going to help, and I'm going to take that bag away, but he is not relaxed at all. Just because his feet aren't moving doesn't mean his mind isn't. Like, he's thinking, and he's like still very much afraid of this. And you got to be really careful about putting that bag in front of them too, because they could really strike out at it, paw, rear. You got to watch that too. Like, he's trying to kind of look at it. Um, but yeah, he relaxes as soon as I take the bag away because that intensity is gone. But I just started it with way too much intensity. Again, same here. See his reaction. He's very bothered about this, and I don't know why I'm getting closer. I should not be getting closer. He doesn't need that at all. He needs me to be further away with a further intensity, a lot, or a less intensity, a lot less than this. So basically at this time I was like, oh yeah, I've been taught like you you bring the bag and you shake it until they stop responding to it. But I'm just flooding him here because he tried to escape. He cannot escape. He's frozen, and then I'm just waiting for him to kind of relax a little bit. He's like, all right, well, there's nothing else. Like, I can't do anything, so he has to just stay there. So, I mean, he doesn't like completely ignore everything that's on the text here. He does not have a relaxed body position whatsoever. That I could not get off the videos, and I've said that before, but I think it's kind of ironic that I put that on there. He does not have a relaxed body position whatsoever. Um, but same thing on this side, like he does learn really quickly. Like some horses do have a lot more trouble with that, like switching side to side. Um, but he's still very much uncomfortable with this. Um, Telltale sign here is his ears and his neck here. And you could probably see on his face a little bit, his eye is pretty tight. It's not blinking right now. He's got pretty tight nostrils and lips. Unfortunately, it's just not very super, like, great quality of camera, so we can't really see that. But those are going to be your probably first signs usually. Like if I would have, like in the very beginning, when I just put the flag down from my hands, you could see his ears and his neck move. If we had a higher quality camera and we were a little bit closer, you could see his mouth tighten, his nose tighten. He might have like a wrinkles on his face or his eyes, and you could see that. And that's going to be usually happening first before you see other things like the head raise and ears move, and like definitely before you see the horse leave or run away or do something else. So um, that's just really important to, to to take into context here is those things happen first and we miss them a lot. Like I missed that whole thing with his ears and his neck in the very beginning. So I wanted to point that out so we can start seeing equine body language for what it is and not what some trainers disguise it as or says that it is. Because there's a lot of misinformation about that. Um, he is not relaxed here. He's still not relaxed here. And I was at the time thinking, oh well, he's relaxing. He's not moving, so he's relaxing. And I think that happens to a lot of people. And then you get a little like then I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna move on. So I get a little closer and a little closer and closer. Um, And for some horses, that can be too much. He could kick out, he could strike out, he could run away. Those are definitely things that can happen. But yeah, you can see this body language. If you see this body language at any point in time, he is not comfortable. I see a lot of horses like getting started who look like this when you get on. Do not get on a horse that looks like this. As soon as that bag goes away, he's like, okay, I'm not gonna die. And so he'll lick and chew here and relax a little bit. And he's coming down from this place of a lot of fear and a lot of stress, and then he'll come down a little bit. This is not a good thing though. He is scared of that bag. But I see a lot of people saying that horses with that body language are relaxed or they're fine, and they are not. Same thing with this. Those ears, watch those ears. He is not okay with this. Same thing with the head and neck position. He's very tight, he's very tense. He is not ready for the bag to be touching him at all. And at the time, I was like, okay, well, the bag's on him, so I'm going to wait till he relaxes a little bit. So he's turning to look at it. Some other horses would have just jumped and exploded at this. He hasn't because he's just a good-natured horse, but it could have gotten much, much worse. So, and then I moved him here to kind of show the camera what I was doing. But really, like once, like at the time, what I was thought was, okay, once the bag is on, then you just kind of work your way all the way around the horse's body, like let him relax, and like it's not going to kill him, but it's like he's probably relaxed a little bit. Probably because it was scarier for him that the bag was like flying through the air and making noise, and now it's not making as much of noise. For him specifically, but other horses, this can be a lot scarier than the bag like making noise and flapping around. So just be really careful with that. If you want to see a much better application of this, I would definitely recommend watching me desensitizing the Mustangs to bags and plastic bags and flags and whatever. Um, that was much better way to do it. So, but you got to be really careful with the flag too, because they'll strike out, they'll run away, they'll kick out, and you could definitely get caught in the crossfire here. So, but again, he's lowered his neck, but I would watch the ears. He's definitely not comfortable um, with this process at all. Because even if he's turning his head to it, that could be like he wants to look at it, and then he might get afraid and strike out and run away. That's definitely a possibility. You gotta be really careful with it on their face too. And I think I'm in a decent position, like body wise. Like I look a little maybe a little bit closer to him um than it is in reality because of the camera, but I am off to the side, so the positioning is fine. Just the technique is not great. Um, then we do the same thing on the other side, still pretty tense. His ears are pretty much the same. His head is still up. His back is still hollow. He's standing really strangely, honestly. Like he's really standing together. Like his hind end is tucked under, and so is his front end. And at this point, he's just really like shut down. Like as soon as I bring the bag up, like there's no response. He's just learned that they're like not really responding is the right answer. So if he does nothing, like if he just kind of stands there and takes it, just like with the rope and the stick and everything else, if he just sits there, like then it'll go away eventually. But um, that did not make him a quiet horse forever. Like he would be afraid of just little things, because he was never um, completely comfortable with the stuff that I was showing him. So you don't want to have this false sense of security because he's just kind of shutting down here.